Hey guys, I decided to do something a little bit different today, so this is not going to be a standard gameplay commentary. Instead, I decided that I would answer some questions that are very, very frequently asked on the channel. And the reason I do this, number one, so that I can finally answer those questions publicly and hopefully cut down on the amount of private messages I get with these comments in them. And two, so I can also direct people who ask these questions in the future to this video. But anyway, gonna be some interesting stuff in here, basically like a miniature channel update slash FAQ. Just as some background, the video that you're watching right now is just a random game of NFL Blitz that I've been playing online. Obviously, this came out recently for Xbox Live Arcade and PSN, and I'm actually really enjoying it so far. So I'm playing as the San Diego Chargers here, and DodgerFan 918 is playing as the St. Louis Rams. I don't know DodgerFan 918, but this is a pretty good game, particularly for me, so I figured it might be something entertaining to at least put on in the background. Certainly this is not an NFL Blitz tutorial, but anyway, let's get started with the questions that I have here. First, the most common question that I get asked, particularly in the past few months, is will you ever go back and play Terraria now that so much new stuff has been added? And I'm sorry to say that the answer to that question is no. There's a lot of reasons why I won't go back to Terraria. The big one is basically that I just burned myself out on that game big time. So, I don't know, if you go back to like the final episode of that, you can hear that I'm just like frustrated with the game, I'm exhausted with it, basically just exasperated. And I definitely still like Terraria. Like, I gave it some love in my Wendy's series, my year-end best indie games on the PC series, but definitely I will not be going back to Terraria. Just because I don't think it would make for entertaining videos. A big part of the stuff that I choose to play is stuff that I'm actually entertained by, because I think that automatically creates better commentary. Unfortunately, I'm not that entertained by Terraria anymore. I still think it's a great game. Big ups to the developers for continuing to release free DLC for it, and that game goes on sale all the time. Certainly I would not say Terraria is a bad game. I just played it too much, and to be honest, I probably should have stopped that Let's Play before I did. So no, I will not be going back to play Terraria, which I know is probably disappointing for a lot of people, but there's a lot of really good Let's Players who are playing Terraria right now. Like, I know Tobuscus did a Let's Play of it, I think Jesse Cox and Total Biscuit did a Let's Play of it, and since the 1.1 update came out, tons of people are doing it. I encourage you to check them out. Question 2, also a very commonly asked question, particularly, I get this question at least once every Binding of Isaac video in the comments. What do you use to record the Binding of Isaac? Because Fraps, which is the most common maybe screen recording software that you see out there, does not actually work with the Binding of Isaac. I use a program called Camtasia Studio. If you're gonna be starting Let's Playing, I highly recommend that you get both Fraps and Camtasia Recorder. The reason being that Fraps is gonna produce by far the higher quality videos, but not every game works with Fraps for one reason or another. On some games it just destroys the frame rate, they just don't work well together. On some games you won't actually even be able to capture the footage that you're going to want to show to people. It just will show up as a black screen, or it just won't make any recording at all. So I think having both of those in conjunction is going to be able to do you for like 98% of your recording needs. But to reiterate the answer to that question, what do I use to record the Binding of Isaac? Camtasia Studio. Okay, and also, what do you use to record everything comes up fairly frequently as well. Again, I get a lot of messages from people who are starting Let's Playing for like the first time in their, I don't know, what would you call it, a career? And basically I'm just going to reiterate what I just said. On the PC, Fraps is going to be good for probably about 75% of what you need it for. Camtasia Studio will handle the rest. For editing, I typically use Sony Vegas. Also, I just want to mention, if you're watching the video closely, I'm pretty sure that the game just screwed DodgerFan 918. It said it was a fumble, but it definitely should have been an incomplete pass. But hey, that's Blitz sometimes. There's no way for me to just give the ball back to him. Yeah, so for editing, I primarily use Sony Vegas, which is a pretty expensive program, but definitely for editing, it'll do what you need it to do. For videos that don't really need that much editing, I use a program called Virtual Dub. So if we're going to get a little bit more in depth, typically I record in Fraps, pull that video into Virtual Dub, re-render it in a video codec called Labyrinth Lossless Codec, which creates relatively high quality videos, pull them into Sony Vegas. The reason being that Sony Vegas can't actually handle the Fraps codec by itself, and then render from Sony Vegas from there, and do my editing, of course. On the consoles, I record with a piece of hardware known as the Hauppauge HD PVR, which is what this is recorded with right here. It took me a while to get the settings figured out for it, and it's an expensive piece of hardware at about $200 brand new, but highly recommended. Once you get those settings figured out, you can produce fairly high quality videos. That's what the Dark Souls videos are being recorded with as well. And again, render those all in Sony Vegas. Okay, Question 3. What's happening with the Binding of Isaac videos slash Are You Dead? These are questions that come out if it's been like a day or two since I uploaded an Isaac video, or a day since I uploaded any kind of video. I try to stick with a 1 to 2 episode a day, and again, he just gets screwed on that fumble, but lucky me. Again, I try to stick to a fairly regular upload schedule of 1 to 2 episodes a day, but sometimes, you know, real life gets in the way, and I can't upload an episode on a day. Get a lot of messages that are like, are you dead? Are you okay? What happened? I'm totally fine. That's just going to happen sometimes. I try to compensate by uploading an extra episode at some point throughout the week, but don't worry about it. If you don't see an episode for 2 or 3 days, I'll be okay. If it's been like a week, then maybe start to worry. The Binding of Isaac isn't going anywhere just because Dark Souls is getting a lot of play on this channel right now. As I mentioned in one of the comments that I did as a reply, this is and has always been a channel where I do a variety of content. Binding of Isaac is not going anywhere, but it probably will be cut back a little bit now that Dark Souls is maybe getting more of the spotlight. But as always, going to be a ton of Let's Look Ats, going to be a ton of just random gameplay videos, and yes, more Isaac and tons more Dark Souls. And more Happy Wheels as well. I've got a lot of series on the go right now. Also, that co-commentary with Edmund McMillan is still coming. Question 4. Can I have your Steam ID / Xbox Live gamertag? The short answer to this is no, at least for Steam ID. And that's because my Steam friends list is already full. But this sounds kind of selfish, but if you have like a really good reason for adding me on Steam, for example, you want to give me something, I'm not encouraging you to give me a game to get on my Steam's friends list. I'm not saying, yo, buy me something and I'll let you on. But that is kind of how it works. There's a lot of people on my Steam friends list who don't talk to me for whatever reason, or, you know, I don't talk to them. So I can delete inactive people and add new people, but if I just did that for everybody that wanted to be on my Steam friends list, then I would just be doing it with like 10 new people every day. So I can't do that. So you kind of need a good reason, even if that does sound kind of selfish. For gamertag, I don't mind adding you, or you can add me on Xbox Live. You can see my gamertag in pretty much every video I do where I am playing on the 360. But again, don't expect me to always be able to respond to your messages or join Xbox Live parties. I'm flattered, but I don't really know most of you guys personally. Wow, that was a crazy touchdown. I don't really know most of you guys personally, so I kind of feel uncomfortable sometimes when I just sit down on my couch and I get all these party requests, because I just want to, you know, I want to play some Dark Souls by myself. Do I recover this onside kick? Oh yeah, I was really hammering this guy this game. Sorry, DodgerFan 918. 28-0 at the half is a pretty absurd Blitz game. Anyway, so that's the story with that. Probably not, unfortunately. I can't give you my Steam ID again. But gamertag is fine. Just don't expect me to always be active. The other question I get a lot that's semi-related to this is, can I play X game with you? And it's usually a free game like League of Legends or Spiral Knights. The answer to that, again, is probably no. And the reason is I like to do my own thing when I'm playing games. So, you know, downloading and getting familiarized with these games will sometimes take me a few hours, not to mention like bandwidth, which costs me money, and hard drive space, which is always at a premium when you're dealing with like long, uncompressed videos. So, you know, my personal time is very precious to me, so don't feel offended if I say I can't play a game with you, but oftentimes that's how it's going to go. Now, the exception to this is if you're playing a game that I also really enjoy playing. So, for example, on Steam recently, I've had a lot of people be like, yo, do you want to play a game of Dota 2? Yes, I do. I would love to play a game of Dota 2, because that's a game that really gets better when you're playing with people you actually understand, or you actually know. Anyway, so that's that question kind of rolled up into a nutshell. Let's go to question 5. I hope I'm not seeming too negative here, but this is basically the honest truth. I'm answering the questions that I get most frequently as honestly as I can. Number 5. Hey, I sent you a YouTube message. Why haven't you responded? The easy answer here is that I don't read most of the YouTube messages I get, and that might seem dickish, but the reason I don't read them is because probably 65 to 80% of them are just spam. If you have a YouTube channel, whether it's, you know, small, medium, or large sized, I guarantee you get a lot of YouTube messages that are basically like, hey man, love your videos, and then you click on it and it's like, if you want to get more subscribers, go to subforsub.com. I'm not sure why those messages are as prevalent as they are, but I probably get, you know, between 10 to 12 of those a day, as well as a lot of messages from people that are basically just like, I guess people who are trying to grow their channel in size, just spamming their video out to as many people as possible over a certain subscriber threshold, or using automated tools etc., etc. So, you know, it's not reliable for me to check a YouTube message and just look at the subject and be like, is this cool? The other reason is that if I don't respond to a YouTube message, it's just because I can't possibly respond to those messages. There's not enough time in the day. I read some of them, certainly not all of them, but I read some of them. But again, I get between 30 to 40 messages a day, which just frankly doesn't give me enough time. This is a good time to mention that the best time, or the best way to reach me, if you want to reach me, is definitely on Twitter. My Twitter account is Northernlion LP. So if you want to like talk to me or get in touch with me about some kind of question, I usually know that a person is real if they send me an @ reply on Twitter. This is not just spamming to get you to follow me on Twitter. I mean, I don't gain anything for having more followers. This is just saying, and anyone who adds me on Twitter, who has me on Twitter, or has sent me a reply on Twitter knows that I'm on there fairly frequently, and I do reply to a lot of messages on there. Also, Facebook, sometimes I'll respond to comments on my wall on Facebook. Not my personal wall, but my Northernlion wall. Yeah, so if you want to get in contact with me and you're being serious about it, don't send me a YouTube message. Maybe send me a Twitter reply, and if you have something that requires like more space than 140 characters, I might give you my personal email address, although that's kind of unlikely. But definitely that's a good way to test the waters. Question 6. I'm starting up a new Let's Play channel. Can you A, watch my videos, and B, give me some advice? A, watch your videos? Sometimes. I have done this in the past. It really just depends on my mood on the day and how I'm feeling. Again, I get a few messages like this every day, and when you consider that the average Let's Play is going to be like 10 to 15 minutes long, that's a pretty big time investment for me. But I do pretty frequently hang out in communities where, feedback for Let's Plays is given, like reddit.com/r/Let's Play. It's something I enjoy doing, but I can't always do it. Again, if you send me a message like this and I haven't replied, don't be offended, it's just kind of the luck of the draw. As for giving advice, I would much rather give advice in a forum like this than, give advice to every specific person. My major advice, if you're thinking of doing Let's Plays, oh man, terrible 2-point conversion there. If you're thinking of doing Let's Plays is, there's 2 or 3 things that are very important. First thing, make sure your equipment is good, so definitely buy a standalone mic. Don't use the onboard microphone on your computer if you're using a laptop. Figure out a good recording setup as well. You don't want to be recording the game audio through your microphone because it sounds horrible. And oftentimes you will also hear the computer fan like incredibly loud. Make sure your video quality and audio quality are good. I use Audacity, which is a freeware audio recording software, and I've never had any complaints about that. And in terms of video, definitely fraps and make sure your computer specs are half decent. I mean, even I have frame rate issues sometimes with my videos, but they're largely not game-breaking, or they don't ruin the video, let's put it that way. As long as your audio and video stuff is half decent, you're 75% of the way there. After that, you just need to make sure your commentary is somewhat engaging. Number 1 tip for that is just practice. You're going to be a lot more fluid in your commentary on your 50th video or your 50th attempt at making a video than you are at your 5th. Similarly, play games that you actually enjoy. That's the reason when people are like, can you play Terraria? I usually say no, this is just because I'm going to be bored when I play it, and then the commentary is going to show that. Of course, there are exceptions to that. For example, my Poison Mushroom series. Oftentimes I'm bored and really disappointed with those games, but I continue to play them because it's for comedic value. Also, this is a tip that I didn't really understand until I got about a year into the channel's life, so a few months ago. Maintain as frequent of an upload schedule as you can, and stick to it. Like, people don't care if your upload schedule is once a week, as long as you upload once every week. It's like, you would not watch, if you're a big fan of like 30 Rock on TV, you would not watch 30 Rock if it just came on at a random time every week. You're going to watch it because it's going to be on NBC Thursday at 8:30. Full disclosure, I have no idea when 30 Rock actually comes on. But you get the idea, I think. So definitely, if you can manage doing 7 videos a week, 1 every day, do it and stick to it. Just make sure you stick to it, or you give people a reason why you're not sticking to it. Which is what I just did a few questions ago, and I was like, sometimes real life gets in the way. And the final question that I have prepared, but I've got a few more on Twitter that I might be able to get to because we have about 4 minutes left in this video, is can you do a Let's Play of X game? And usually this is something that comes up in Let's Look At. So if I do a Let's Look At and I'm like, this game's fairly decent, I get a few messages that are like, do a Let's Play of this game. I understand that not all of those comments are serious, and, largely it's just people expressing their interest that they would like to see it. Particularly, this happened a lot on Cube. The problem is I just want to emphasize how much time a Let's Play takes, and I hope this doesn't sound like I'm complaining, because I really love the fact that I'm able to do this, and that people enjoy watching the videos, but, you know, making a Let's Play takes a lot of effort. If you take a look at something like the Bastion Let's Play, that was one of the shortest and least work-intensive Let's Plays I've ever had to do, and even still, there were about 12 episodes of that, and, you know, I think if you consider that everyone was probably about 20 to 30 minutes long, so that's about 6 hours of recording, which is no big deal, really. I've done 6-hour-long recording sessions of Isaac without breaking a sweat, but then the rendering times are going to be, like, usually double to triple that, so then you've got 18 hours of rendering. Usually you have about an hour of uploading for each one of those episodes. So, you know, you are getting into like the 40-hour range just to make a Let's Play of a relatively short game where I did not show absolutely everything off. For something like Dark Souls, this is a huge project because there's going to be maybe 20 to 30 hours, in fact possibly more, of just footage and commentary for that game. Rendering each episode takes about 3 hours, and uploading it takes about 2. So again, we're in like the hundreds of hours for that. So Let's Plays are not something that you can just make willy-nilly. I mean, it's a lot easier if you're doing retro games, and I'm not saying that disparagingly. But certainly something like Super Adventure Island took me like 5 hours front to back. But new games, particularly if you've got really good footage, HD footage, it's gonna take a while. Excuse me, I just woke up. My voice feels a little shaky. I got a little bit of the coffee burps right now. But anyway, pretty much this game of NFL Blitz is over, and I feel bad for Dodger 918 because he pretty much got screwed right from the get-go. He was down 28-0 at the half because of some bad throws on him that resulted in interceptions, and also the game kind of screwing him over on a fumble. I'm going to spoil something and say that DodgerFan 918 does actually rage quit here, which is disappointing because it doesn't actually help him. Like, he still gets a loss, and he rage quits with like 10 seconds left, but please do me a favor and don't send him messages on Xbox Live being like, wow man, you're a dick. I understand Blitz is a frustrating game, and also if you do that, maybe I won't be able to do these videos in the future because I'll have like police knocking on my door seeing if I'm harassing people. But anyway, I think that's pretty much all of the questions that I wanted to ask, so just to reiterate, go over it very quickly. What's happening with Isaac? It's still going on, but it might be toned down a little bit. Will you go back and play Terraria? No. Are you dead? Probably not. Can I play X game with you or have your Steam ID and Xbox Live gamertag? Again, probably not, but maybe if you have a special reason for wanting it. Here's his rage quit. And yeah, if you're playing a game that I enjoy playing, then yeah, maybe we can play a game together. Hey, why didn't you respond to my YouTube message? I don't check my YouTube messages because 90% of them are spam. Finally, good advice for a channel. Be passionate about the games that you play and make sure your recording setup is half decent. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to stop this video now, and I will see you next time. Hopefully this was helpful for a lot of you. See you next time.